Project is a psychiatric self-therapeutic multimedia project to solve the problems, challenges, and obstacles in lives, as well as a self-improvement process to reach the highest goals and ambitions that we have set for ourselves, as well as those around us. If you would like a brief introduction, a brief summary as to how we break down the Ahn Rho Project into domains of life, sub-series, analogies, and so on and so forth. You check that out on previous live streams for the past 3.5 years, straight to January 2021 and beyond for more updated versions, including the live stream schedule, content life, copyright-free music, and how we divvy the 15-minute live stream into 3 phases and 11 segments, which won't take too much of your time. That being said, let's dive into the second segment of today. As usual, 2-3 points. First of all, we're going to have probably 3 live streams today. A lot to do today as well. So, second thing, let's just dive right into it, is that solving 5 override, a rule to break all the rules of the system override to free myself from the system and be purely practical and get whatever most urgently needs done. And last but not least, if you'd like to skip this introduction, this short and abridged introduction just go by about a minute to a minute and a half, forward it into the stream on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch as a VOD, video on demand, and then you'll skip it right into the content. So let's showcase the content right now. We're right into it, phase 2. Take a look on the left-hand panel. There's a lot of stuff in phase 2. After that, we're going to see on my right-hand side, you see this phase 3. That's not going to be covered in this live stream, so that's irrelevant right now. So this live stream will be largely phase 2. Same thing with the second live stream. We have a lot of phase 2 items accumulating from yesterday's interactions and just a lot of tasks and administrative work. So let's take a look over here on the left-hand panel, expand a little bit. We'll do a quick rundown of the collages, and then we'll go through them one by one. You see some news and politics on top. You also see account subscriptions, so some, think of antivirus security stuff. Updating the monetary subscription model that I'm going to use. The payment method I'm going to use for the subscription model. We have also clearly some profile pictures here of my channels, whether it's on Instagram or on Quora and so on and so forth, trying to change and update into the CPTSD. We'll get to that. Basically change to the Ahn Project as a whole, as it is defined by its name. We also have Stoicism, so philosophy here, and at the very bottom, once again, more of different platforms that I've had to update, and we'll be running through all that kind of stuff. Titles, names, mostly on social media platforms. Let's get rid of that. Pull it to the side, expand this a little bit. We have here also on this second collage at the very top, you have a lot of stuff having to do with narcissism and particularly dysfunctional relationships, if you are familiar with narcissistic personality disorders. So Dr. Grande, Dr. Rama, you can search that on YouTube, but we'll talk a little bit about that. We also have some things having to do with comments here that I thought were noteworthy inside those videos, so just a bit of shout to them. Then again, you have some platforms down here, me updating it from the CPU processor into the CPTSD processor, understanding that my survival mentality that's been ingrained into me 24/7 throughout the 30 years of my life has been actually a response to incredibly abusive behavior, which I was not aware of. I thought it was just very strict disciplinary, whatever. But we'll get to that in a second. And then we have also at the very bottom here, business stuff. So on the right-hand side, if we do expand in here, we see a lot of auto orders, stuff like that, having to do with me updating certain business product purchases for healthcare. At the very bottom, you see news. Once again, it seems, volunteering. So a bunch of emails here having to do with volunteering. I still am trying to get back into volunteering at the hospital. At a senior's home, I'm still volunteering. That's fine, but the hospital, I stopped. I see a new role that's very interesting to me. I want to talk a little bit about that maybe I'll be interested in re-entering. And finally, we see on the left-hand side, once again, trying to change this has to do with finance. And the right-hand side here also a little to do with messages back and forth between me and my colleagues. Once again, if I can get through everything, that'd be great. If I can't, then whether it's fine. At the very bottom right, the last thing here in the collage is some Excel document, the database of the Ahn Project. So health, fitness, excretion, just taking a dump. I'm going to say, I'm being very robotic right now. I realize I don't have a personality because I'm trying to get a lot of this stuff done. It's a lot, but I'm going to try to inject a little bit more humor into it. I'll try my best. Alright, moving on. So let's just get started somewhere. Let's start off with the database. So take a look on the left-hand side, right-hand side. One by one, we'll go through this. Okay, so we see here, I'm going to lower the volume so you can hear me a little bit better. I'm going to use that a bit loud. The beat drop's gone anyways. So you take a look here on fitness. So obviously this is just some of the metrics here for diet, fitness, digestive issues, how my sleep cycle, so on and so forth. General management at different levels of importance, and drinking enough water, staying hydrated. So these are the things that are here. I just want to mention very briefly. Obviously, they're kind of out of whack. I'm sleeping at like 2 a.m. That's like 7 hours later than I'm supposed to. We also have here on the right hand side here. The good news was for the past about 3 days, I've been going to the washroom taking. I've been taking a dump twice a day. All right, so that's good, and that's good because I'm clearing my guts for that's a good thing. But I have to say, it's just like that. It's also an indication that I'm eating too much still. So I'm still binge eating. So that's still an issue that I'm trying to tackle in terms of health-wise problems that I'm still having right now. And I have to find a way to work through everything. But the most immediate thing is just to get through all this work, and then I'll be able to. That's the most immediate way to address the problem, just to reduce the stress by getting all the things that need to be done. So over here we have volunteering. So hello volunteers. I've sent this out yesterday evening. So this is my coordinator speaking to all the volunteers. We have some exciting volunteer opportunities. Interested in volunteering, any of the opportunities below. Virtual admin support, training room support. So obviously, I'm not showing the whole email very clearly. This is for privacy and confidentiality. I'm not going to showcase the whole thing. Just things that are very vague. Virtual admin support. This is not detailing the location or which hospital or anywhere like that. But ideal skills include knowledge of Office and so on and so forth. Coordination. Shifts 3 to 4 hours per day, once a week, that kind of stuff. If you want to do more, that's fine. And here's the kind of schedule. So I'm looking at this, I'm eyeing it down and saying 7 to 11 a.m. sounds like a good time. I'm able to ask my HR manager if I can free up a day, probably Thursday, Wednesday, something like that. And you can see something noteworthy here is that only high school students are allowed to go for the weekend shifts, so that's fine. I was well aware of that advantage is not going to be offered to full-time employee, people who are working full-time, only to high school students. Now, your make a fee, monthly subscription, something like that. So this has to do with, antivirus and so on and so forth. I can't say that this is exactly the one I'm using, but it is the one that I am subscribed to, at least for one of them. And so that, again, obviously I'm not going to tell you the whole what I'm going to use completely, right? That'd be too revealing. But antivirus, think of McAfee as one solution, and that's one thing that's subscribed. We also have Microsoft Office, so just some general software. So one is the Office suite, right? Spreadsheets, database, word processor, right? We also have McAfee, which is the antivirus. So I have to update some of these in terms of finance because of the switching credit card. So if I show some examples here, Microsoft 365 Personal, $79 per year. And here's basically saying has to fix, it'll expire on the 10th, 2021. And that was my old credit card. So basically, I had to update that, get it down. This is very important because every year it's gonna recycle. And I don't want to go into some sort of, issue where they charge me for not having enough funds because my credit card actually expired. So I have a new one, updated that, that's great. So that's finance, that's so far volunteering, that's the hospital, that's subscription and software and security. There's a lot of stuff already. Moving on, we have about 7 minutes left. Fracture, 7 minutes left of this current live stream. Again, 2 more live streams there today. Fracture, ceiling, breakpoint. So we started a new playlist. So we're gonna start breezing through a little bit here. I'll mention because the main highlight here is, first of all, we've uploaded already the business product booklet over to the laptop and backdrop. So they'll scan documents. Top right hand side with fracture, ceiling, breakpoint. So that's the new name of the new playlist that I have, or the new series on the Ahn Rho Project. Sorry, there's the wrong image. So basically, if I were to showcase some of this, obviously on Instagram or YouTube or Facebook, I add them to playlists, compile a bunch of episodes, whatever topics are relevant together. So in this case, I've broken past the 3 decades of narcissistic abuse, domestic violence, suicidal depression, financial ruin, all that kind of jazz. That's horror. This is a horror show. I tell you, it's horrible in the moment, but I'm done with that stuff. So long story short, this series is basically a moniker for the fact that fracture, ceiling, breakpoint. I'm saying, we're breaking through of that. We're in this recovery phase, and it's a mess right now, trying to build myself up to some sort of a breaking point. I want to get to ground zero at the very least. It took 3 decades ever since I was a kid straight up to now, but we're kind of reaching that kind of flashpoint threshold. We have 5 minutes left. That took way too long to talk about the playlist, but obviously it's very important. We have some relationships here, so we can say, hey Kay, I spoke directly with biological mother this morning about inviting to meet us today. So this has to do with relationships now, right? And media assets, so segment 4 and 5 typically in phase 2. However, she says she's not feeling well, and sometime later, is that alright with you? You can text her directly, blah 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 blah. Once again, not showing any names here, obvious reasons, privacy, confidentiality, respectable that. Hi A, that's me. Can I go pick you up at your place? We can go to Starbucks. And then we have the name here of the descriptions that I want to update for my bio and description on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, and so on and so forth. I changed it from pragmatics and human CPU, so like a play on words analogy for human processor, like a computer processor. I changed to PTSD, so complex post-traumatic syndrome disorder, because that's more reflective of what my channel is and who I am, and the thing that's kind of defined my behavior. So and the broken relationships and workplace relationships I have. It's a very key defining trait of also my personality, the hyper-organization, the perfectionist behavior, how I try to cover everything from volunteering to employment to finance to principles of life to meaningfulness. I have to be the whole family in one person. So I have this CPTSD survival instinct ever since I was a kid because of the household that I grew in. So that's representative of basically what the bio should be about, right? I mean, I didn't understand what I should name it before. I was trying to say it's just life, it's managing life, but it's clearly much greater than that. And I realized that I have this diagnosis of CPTSD, and that's reflective of how I manage this project as a whole. Okay, so down here, that's another mouthful, Jesus. So place where we work on solving the puzzle of life. So I'm going to update that not just on YouTube, but also on Facebook, on Twitch, and so on and so forth, which I've done yesterday. For those like-minded, hungry, and disciplined, but lacking guidance or held back by other inevitable circumstances of life story. So that's the kind of stuff that's a lot of stuff, man. We got like 2.5 minutes left, and I spent so much time on that. So speaking of which, why don't we just breeze through some of these things that I updated. So let's take a look here. Human CPU processor right here. That's the beforehand. Human Encyclopedia, by the way, thank you to the very few people or organizations that have followed me anyways. Doubt that they're paying any attention, but it's just like a reciprocal thing. I do appreciate KN. If you know who you are, KN on Instagram, thank you for actually interacting once in a while. I do appreciate that. So here now you see Human CPTSD processor, and it says place where we work on solving the puzzle of life, as opposed to Human Encyclopedia, which is very vague and doesn't really give you an understanding what the whole channel and project is all about, the Ahn Project is about. Same thing here on Quora, right? Updating up here, this little blurb wasn't there before on Quora. To give and learn, live, then burn, destroying myself, my life possessions, building from scratch again. That was the previous one. The updated one's up here. Place where we work on solving the puzzle of life. And that's more relatable for, I believe, a lot of people anyways. Same thing here, updating the credentials. What I'm trying to do essentially. We also have up here on Facebook, YouTube, updating Ahn Rho Human CPU processor, and so on and so forth. And so what else we have? It's like YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, all this kind of stuff. Quora, Medium. Okay, moving on to news. We have some news here. So National Post, I'm just going through some current events here. So global international affairs. Australia resisted using nuclear powers for decades. Here's why AUKUS. So basically Australia, UK, and US coming together to, trade nuclear submarines. And there's this whole fallout with France as well. Obviously this is global affairs, doesn't really have anything to do with me in particular, but I just think it's important to us to stay up to date. I'm not saying that you should use MSN. I don't believe that you can use whatever you want to use. It doesn't have to be MSN. It can be Fox News. It can be whatever. Just get a good breadth. So if you're going to take one conservative end, also make sure you pay attention to the liberal end and get a well-rounded source of media. And don't make your judgments completely based on media. So we have here, in this particular case, here's some Canadian news. Canadians find Trudeau angry and so on and so forth, petty, divisive, whatever. We have here conservative take on Aaron O'Toole and conservative right for Canada. Again, I'm not going to expunge any opinions. You have your own. I trust your judgment and so on and so forth. Here's another kind of photograph that has less to do with news and more to do with, again, the whole antivirus, changing the credit card and so on and so forth. And I'll have to end the live stream. We will continue this in about maybe, 45 minutes or so. So I'll see you then because I don't have time.